what we want to establish is taking the science out of the lab, bringing it out to the real world, and see whether those concepts that we have established in a laboratory environment, whether it really works in a real life scenario. And this is the reason we have been working with the development chefs to create these food formats with the kokumi peptides and get a reaction from consumers to find out whether they can actually perceive the differences in taste. Peptides are little pieces of proteins. The building blocks of proteins are amino acids. So amino acids are strung together to form a long chain, which then fold in a certain way to create a protein structure. But if you take that structure and chop it up into smaller bits, those smaller bits are called peptides. Kokumi peptides have a unique way of interacting with our calcium sensing receptors on our tongue. So once they bind to those receptors, they trigger a sensation in our brain that tells us that the food we are tasting has a lot more depth in flavor, continuity of taste, and also richness. The advantage of using kokumi peptide is that they enhance taste. So kokumi is not a taste per se. So there are 5 different types of tastes, like salt, salty, umami, sour, sweet, and bitter. But kokumi enhances those taste properties.
Up until Santanu got hold of us from Ag Research and explained to us what kokumi was, we had no idea what it was. We received the product and were totally blown away by that this powder was going to make such a difference to the flavour and to the whole experience that we have putting the food together. Our experience here is a complete mouthfeel. So it's really just that elevation of the flavours, the complete mouthfeel, really the excitement of being able to taste some of the flavours that you didn't expect to taste.
I'm sure number 2 was had the magic touch to it. I found that very nice. I could easily eat a bigger steak with that flavour. I found it nice and rich, but without being too rich, less rich than the onion soup actually, but nice and juicy as well, and flavoursome. I think that was very, very nice.
Both very nice. I found the first one, the initial hit was a little more salty. Then as I gradually ate the steak, I really enjoyed the flavour. It seemed a bit more rounded, and richer flavour that lasted longer. Compared to the second steak, the Brussels sprouts on the second side, the sauce seemed a lot more creamier. Seemed like a richer kind of garlicky flavour coming through as opposed to the first one. And so in terms of mouthfeel, I thought that was better than number 1.
The dishes today were really nice. It was really interesting tasting the difference between the dishes that had the kokumi added to it and the ones that didn't. I think that the French onion soup was absolutely beautiful, but then the kokumi added French onion soup was just so much more rich and so much more complex. It was really interesting.
So it was really interesting for me to see how different people reacted. What was really exciting for me is that they were all able to clearly taste the kokumi, and the majority of them really thought that it did what we expected it to do. So this was almost a whole new way of looking at rounding the product. So having a little bit more focus on this product going forward, we can see the applications being so far reaching